Hi, everybody. I'm Mark Pillsbury here with Cruising World Magazine, and we're here today for the Imtra LED lighting seminar webinar. I'm with TJ Orr, the product manager for lighting at Imtra. He and I talked a couple weeks ago about some sailboat projects and some other services that Imtra offers and some of their products. And we're going to play that video for you in just a couple minutes. And we're going to stay on the line here, and we'll be back afterwards to answer any questions you might have over about LED lighting or what Imtra could do for you. So if you have questions at the bottom of your Zoom screen, there's a Q&A button that you can hit, and just type in your questions, and we'll be watching for them during the webinar, and be back right after the video plays. So DJ, welcome.
Thank you for having me, and we look forward to answering any and all of your questions.
Cool. Well, let's get going with the video. Hi, I'm Mark Pillsbury here with Cruising World Magazine, and today we're going to talk with TJ Orr. He's the lighting products manager at Imtra. They supply all sorts of different things for fixing and building boats, but we're going to kind of focus in on his expertise today on the lighting side of things. So TJ, as long as I've been at Cruising World and thinking and talking about LED lighting, Imtra the name Imtra always seems to come up in the conversation. You guys were kind of you jumped in early and have really been involved. Can you kind of give us a little of the background?
So we've been in the LED lighting business for over 10 years. What really happened is, being so involved in the marine industry, we saw customers, OEMs, commercial projects kind of moving away, looking for power savings, less heat, going towards the LED route. But as our model, we kind of worked with established suppliers outside of the US bringing their product in. And this was the first time that Imtra decided, you know what, let's kind of be a leader in this industry. And when we couldn't get some of our supply side partners to really see the future, our leadership team said, we're going to have to do it ourselves. So we went forward, and we've been lucky over the years to kind of be on the leading edge of some optics, but then also be able to partner with some amazing companies that kind of saw the vision around the same time that we did. And so we've been able to really utilize our skill of being able to find what's the next best thing out there, what's going to be cutting edge, who's making a great product that customers really need to have access to over in the States.
So you're not necessarily doing R&D, you're doing search and find and importing and pulling it together.
We've kind of switched where we were doing search and find for halogen, xenon, and traditional type of lighting, to we pivoted to our own R&D, developing our own optics, our own LEDs, our own IML lighting line based with our own LEDs, to then pivoting once again and almost branching off to being able to not only source and build our own LEDs, but find companies that we like to add in that give just our customers more options and really allow us to pivot quicker. Because when these companies only focus on LED lighting, they're able to adapt much faster than we are when we're only doing it for a small fraction of our business, but a large percentage of that.
So I have a sailboat. I have the original equipment on it. In my case, it's a little bit older than halogen lights, but why would I want to upgrade? What would be, I mean, obviously they use a little bit less energy, but kind of walk me through why I'd want to make the jump.
Especially on an older boat, they're going to use less energy, where a comparable light output LED light, let's say we're talking about a 25 watt halogen, the same LED light was only going to use 4 to 5 watts. So if you're cruising a lot and you're not always connected to shore power, that's going to save life on your batteries. So with an LED light, you're going to get industry standards about 50,000 hours per fixture. compared to a halogen, which might be 7,000 hours running at less than 70% of the time.
Wow. So longer life, a lot longer life, and a lot less battery usage.
And then one of the other things is they create a lot less heat. So you don't have to worry about fires or if someone touches it, especially as people bring on their grandchildren and their children onto these older boats. And we recently dealt with a custom Viking sport fish that had older halogen lights in, and they'd actually burnt a hole in some blankets that were just tossed into the closet by the kids. And that can be a real danger.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. It's, so if you know, if I know whenever I go to the boat show, Imtra always has a huge booth and lots of different lights up and on display and stuff. So I come in as a customer and sort of what are the intelligent questions I need to ask, and what is it that you need to know to kind of point me in the right direction?
So it depends. If you're looking just to swap out some bulbs, just bring the bulb that you have if you can get it out, and we can usually, just by looking at it and being able to read that, get you the right bulbs. And that's kind of what a lot of people did in the past. And we still see some jobs where they don't want to switch the fixtures. They really like them. They still look great. So quick fix, just swap bulbs out. So we'll do that. But if you're looking to do a full switch over, you want dimming, you want just something new, you want to change the bezels, kind of just completely change it. The diameter of the bezel, the diameter of your cutout, your power source. Are you running an older boat that still has the 120 volt AC powering the lighting? Or are you doing a 12 or 24 volt DC? Also, this is a little more technical, but do you know if your lights are 2 wires or 4 wires? Because then that'll help us direct you to the proper lights. You don't have to run extra wires. And then probably one of the last questions we'd ask is, do you know if your headliner is like a stretch headliner that you see on a lot of custom sport fishers made in mid-Atlantic or further south? Or is it more of a New England style where it's sectionals that you can pop out the different sections and work on the lights right there? So that we'll kind of ask, and how far do you want to get into this project? How many rooms? So just what's the scope that you're looking to accomplish, and what's your time frame would be like our last ones.
So you mentioned a term you've used a couple times is the bezel. What does that refer to?
So the bezel is the outside fixture of the light that the customers will see. So I can show you this. So this right here is a small light, if you can see that. So the bezel is this polished piece right there.
Oh, gotcha. So the frame or the casing. Gotcha.
And there's round, there's square, there's all different styles and colors. So it's not like you get one light and you're stuck with that. Whereas some lights, it's only made this way, but we want to be able to make sure that at the end of the day, everyone's going to be happy.
So a lot of sailboats have a hard liner rather than a cloth liner in the cabins. So chances are good that if I know the size of what that hole in the liner is, we're going to be able to match something up.
Definitely. And with the advancement in LED technology and how they're able to get smaller lights, but throw more light output out there and also create less heat through some advances in the fin shapes on the back that disperse heat, or some companies that we're working with that do like a technopolymer, you actually need less room in your headliner in the recess space to disperse the heat from the minimal heat produced by the light. So yeah, if you know the cutout with that hard liner, and then if you need a spring light or a screw light, are you screwing in? Are you doing that? So those are some other questions that we'll ask.
Are there different types of LEDs? The actual light emitting diodes, and if is there something that's better for marine than for other purposes?
So there are different types of LEDs, color temperature, different colors. There's also different quality. They're also binned by how close they are together. But mainly for the marine environment, it's not so much the diodes themselves, but it's the full construction of the light. One of the biggest things when talking with people is kind of explaining that this is no longer a fixture that then you have to put a secondary bulb into that makes it a complete usable light. It's a full fixture that is usually sealed with the lens and the back body and the diodes in there. So what you're looking for is usually like an IP65 to 67 light, which is how much dust or water can get in. You want something that's waterproof from the front, but you also want to make sure there's no sitting water. You're going to figure out if they're going interior or exterior, and then you'll go on the IP rating, or if they're going into an engine compartment, do they need to be ignition protected because of possible fumes? It's really where they're going. And it's not so much the actual diodes themselves, but it's the overall construction of the unit.
And a little earlier, you mentioned that I could just walk into the booth and say, hey, I want to replace this incandescent bulb, or maybe not an incandescent bulb, but bayonet bulb or something. Is there a difference? I guess my question is there a difference between, like, is just replacing the bulb okay? Or am I going to get a lot better result if I replace the whole fixture?
Replacing the whole fixture is going to give you a better aesthetic and overall look. Now, some lights with the old incandescent or halogen xenon bulbs, those bulbs were made to sit in there, and they threw the light in all the different directions, and the whole fixture kind of lit up. Now with the LED replacement bulbs, there's the diodes everywhere. So if you're putting it into a fixture that doesn't have a lens or isn't directing it, you could get some spotting. Whereas on most LED fixtures, and especially the ones that Imtra specializes in, they have frosted lenses, or kind of like an opaque opal lens between there. So it gives you a continuous look with like a reflector behind it in some cases. And so it really goes, what are you comfortable with and what's your level of the aesthetic that you're looking for? But plenty of people go to just replacement bulbs, but we're seeing more and more where someone will go to an LED replacement bulb and they'll say, hey, you know what? I really like this, because if you remember back when LED lighting first kind of started in the marine industry, and especially inside, it was a very bluish, cool light. And a lot of people still think of it that way. But now with the advancements in technology and how widespread it is, you're able to get warmer color temperatures, much more much more of a traditional look. So people will try a replacement bulb and decide, you know what, I really like the power saving, how little heat this throws, and just how nice the color temperature is. Let's now move and start replacing fixtures.
Lights are part of a system. I mean, it's the electrical system on the boat. So if I start changing fixtures and suddenly I can dim lights that I never could dim before, or I could control lights from different switches, or I don't know. So what else am I thinking about besides just the fixture if I really want to jump into this?
So you bring up a great point with dimming. So with the LED lights, they're going to use an actual dimming module connected to momentary switches instead of your standard rotary dimmer, because you're changing the pulse width modulation to the light, which is the signal that goes to the light that tells it what it is, instead of actually cutting the voltage or the power to the light. So you're basically interrupting that signal to the light, which then allows it to dim. So depending on what light you would buy from us, we would then match that with the appropriate dimmer for the circuit, and then would set you up with VMAR switches. And then with the VMAR switches, that allows you, because they're a modular system, this is like a cover plate from them. As you can see, and on the back, everything snaps in. So you'd mount a frame to the wall and you would have your momentary switch to dim, but then everyone's got iPhones, tablets now, all different types of things that need to charge. So they sell USB chargers that you could put in next to the switch if you wanted to be able to charge something. All different options for items to add in there that really gives you full customization of the interior of your vessel.
And if you're really jumping into it, are the controllers now that you can actually control the lighting on an aftermarket basis? I know there is OEM, but on an aftermarket basis, could I be, if I wanted to spend the winter in the boat playing around, could I end up, come the next season, being able to control my lighting from my iPhone?
Yeah, so we actually work with Lumishore, which is a UK-based company who developed underwater lights to begin with. But a few years ago, they came out with their Lux line, which was originally for OEMs, but we've had, along with them, so much success that we've been able to bring it to the refit market. And it's a full color change. CRGBW above water light, which stands for cool white, red, blue, green, and warm white, all in one fixture. So you'd be able to install those in your vessel, and then the lights run to hubs, which then run back to a command center, which is this, and this is the hub. So these small little things would go up in your overhead or back by your panel. The lights would then run to those, and then you could tie those into your B&G, your Garmin, your Raymarine, your Navico, any of those systems that you would have on your boat as the MFD, or they have their own display panel, which throws off a little Wi-Fi signal that you then connect to your phone, and you can change all the colors. You can set scenes where, let's say you're going out cruising and you want to be able to, at a certain time at night, set everything to a 75% dimmed red, but you only want certain lights on down below. You'd be able to build a scene, you could call it night running, and click that on your phone, and it would turn off the other lights and switch over the lights you want to keep on to red. And they'd be dimmed where you wanted it. And that way you wouldn't have to worry about, oh man, I have these color changing lights and they're white and everything. And I'd really hate for someone to ruin my night vision going down below. You could just set that off the MFD or your phone.
Hey, so you're the lighting manager. You got like your favorite couple or 5 things that you're really excited about right now?
So I showed you the drivers for Lumishore. So that the Lux system, as it's growing, I think that's super cool how people are able to customize it and really make it their own. Other than that, we're seeing more people in the marine industry start using neon rope lighting in their galleys to give some extra light around the kick plate, under the sink, or under the counter, and just put that custom touch on it, be it a warm white or cool white, or like a red or a blue. So I think that's really cool how mainly the sailboat market, which is more traditional and sometimes is a little resistant to change, is now getting there, where especially newer owners or owners that have had boats for years are seeing stuff at shows and they're like, you know what, I can do that. And they're adding this neon rope fixtures in.
Yeah, well, I get to get on a lot of new boats as part of my job, and when you go up below on a new boat with the LEDs, it really at night it's a whole new world, compared to what a lot of us sailors are used to. So it's pretty cool stuff.
Definitely.
I guess that'll wrap things up. TJ, thank you so much. I learned a lot. And for Cruising World, this is Mark Pillsbury. Hopefully see you out there on the water. Hey, welcome back, TJ.
How's it going, Mark?
Good. So we had a few questions that came in during the video while it was playing. But before we get to those, the neon rope lighting, that stuff looks really cool. How does that come? Does that come in a roll and you just cut it to fit, or do you have to have an exact measurement?
So it depends on which brand you're using. Imtra, we sell ours by the foot. We do work with some companies like BCM out of Italy that you can buy it in kind of the same thing, but there are cut marks where you can cut it with scissors, seal the end, rewire it up. Lumishore with their Lux line, you can cut it every 100 millimeters, so you can order it exactly where you want it. It's super user friendly. Most people opt to order exactly how they want each run, unless you're a real like a professional, or you've done a lot of refits yourself and you're used to it. Normally we just suggest give us how many feet you need per run, and we'll set up the order that way, and we can wire it in house and get it cut for you.
Gotcha. So we had an attendee ask, can LED lights be used both internal and external applications? I'm thinking he probably means indoor and outdoor. Yes,
indoor and outdoor, they can be used. Obviously outdoor, when we were talking about the IP rating, that's what you're going to look for more outside with the elements. Also with using LEDs outside, you're going to want to make sure that you're getting the proper light for it, where If the light's meant to be mounted on a flat overhead surface, you're mounting it there and you're not using it as a courtesy light where it's sitting vertical, and obviously water always finds cracks to get in. So you're going to want a light that's sealed very well from the back and doesn't have any way for water ingress. You're also probably not going to want a polished or a bezel that maybe has a rounded edge that could somehow catch water. You're going to want something a little flatter and maybe painted. So all these things that we'd be more than happy to talk about, but it kind of depends on the install location. But the short answer is yes, LEDs can be used indoor and outdoor.
And Imtra carries both types of fixtures. I mean, you have all those courtesy lights and all that stuff in your catalog.
Yep, and those are used indoor and outdoor, and most of our downlights are made that they can be put inside or outside.
So I guess if I were to install a light near the companionway where some spray might come in, I should be telling you about that so that you would be making sure I get the right fixture.
Yes, and then you're also going to want to make sure that the finish is correct, because obviously certain metals will kind of patina, as we like to say, instead of rust, with constant exposure to salt water. So,
and, we have someone asking, can an underwater LED light be integrated to an existing through hull that's already there to avoid cutting additional holes in the boat?
Short answer, yes. Long answer is the underwater lights, the different sizes of them obviously have different through holes. So you would just have to match the light to the through hole size. And now, easier said than done, there's not always going to be a perfect match. But if there is a light that matches that through hole size, you can certainly do that.
Here's a good one. Can a LED masthead light interfere with VHF transmissions?
So the lights that we all sell meet all the different requirements for the Coast Guard, so they won't interfere. If you go to imtra.com to our learning center, we actually have a great short article / blog post on VHF interference and how to avoid that, and the different type of regulations that our lights, such as DHR, which is Den Haan Rotterdam, which is our primary mast light and navigation light supplier.
Gotcha. Hey, if you have boat lights that run off of shore power, 120 volt, is it possible to replace those with LED lights?
Yes, it's getting harder these days as more LED lights for your traditional downlight or non-commercial use go to DC. But what we would be able to do is you'd figure out how many lights are in each run, and we could get you a transformer or power conditioner that would step it down from 120 to 24 or 12 volt. That's normally what we would do there.
Gotcha. So we have a Cape Dory 28 owner. He says, right now, I'm just looking to buy light bulbs to put in the old fixtures. Other than physically bringing them in, how do you know which bulbs to buy? He's in Ohio and isn't probably going to be able to walk into the Imtra showroom anytime soon. So
for that, I would say you could email Imtra with photos of the bulb, go on our website and go to the replacement bulb category. And most bulbs, when you pull them out, on the base of them, they have some identifying marks that'll tell you if it's like a G4 or an E14, different types of bulbs like that. Tower, you can also match pictures. We're more than happy to help and answer questions.
So on the website, is there a chat function that people can ask questions, or do they just call you up and talk to a tech?
Call us up and talk to a tech, or you can email us your photos, and we have a great customer service team comprised of all our PMs and our order desk, along with our in-house engineers. So customer service is kind of our calling card.
Okay. We have another attendee asking if they can find information and products around the neon rope lines on the website.
Yes. That would be, you'd go to imtra.com, go to products, lighting, and then you would go to the rope lighting section. And we have, or you could even go in and go to our catalogs and look through the digitized version of our most recent IML catalog.
And do you guys plan to be at the boat show in Newport and in Annapolis this year?
Yes, we will be at the Newport Boat Show. And as of right now, we are scheduled to be at both Annapolis Power and Annapolis Sail. I'll personally be at Newport on Friday, and I will be at the entirety of Annapolis Sail.
For anybody who hasn't seen the Imtra booth, I love going into it at the different shows. You know, you got anchors and you got lights, and you're really a lot of different stuff to look at and think about how to spend your money.
And what we have the thruster tanks down there, and you can watch how they throw the water, and it's just great. We love having people in the booth, and after this past year and a half with no shows, everyone on our team's eager to get out there and get face to face with customers and just kind of rebuild all those friendships that you make every year at the different shows.
Cool. Hey, one more time before we wrap things up here, TJ, can you give your web address again and how to get a hold of you?
All right. So our web address is imtra.com. We, last year, we combined our business to business and our consumer site just to make it easier on everyone. So you can go on to imtra.com and browse all of our product categories, from anchors and windlasses to thrusters to interceptors to lighting to all like the pumps and inflatable tanks that we have. And then you can reach me. My email is torr@imtra.com, and I'd be more than happy to answer any of your lighting questions.
This has been great. This has been really, really informative. I've had a lot of fun talking with you both today and earlier. Thanks everybody for attending the webinar. It's been fun. TJ, have fun out in Block Island this weekend and stay out of the hurricane, okay?
I'll try my best, and thank you for having me, and I look forward to doing this again.
Okay, see you later.